2025, the year of the Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Thank you for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is June 17th, 2025, and we're going to prove and discuss that 2025 is going to be the year of the Dragnet. What is a Dragnet? A dragnet generally refers to a system of coordinated measures used by law enforcement to apprehend criminals, often involving a large-scale search of an area. A dragnet in policing generally refers to a wide area operation. Modern dragnet practices can include digital searches, such as reverse geolocation warrants, key warrants, and analyzing data from various sources like social media and data brokers. It's also the name of a popular and influential American crime drama franchise that originated as a radio show and later became a successful television series from 1967 to 1970 called Dragnet. Data mining can be considered a form of dragnet surveillance, particularly when used indiscriminately to collect and analyze large amounts of personal data without specific suspicion. This is because data mining techniques, especially when applied to vast data sets, can capture information about individuals who are not suspected of any wrongdoing. DOGE accessing all information, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, education records, Treasury, etc., is a form of data mining. Then Trump commissions Palantir to create a national database on every single American. A dragnet surveillance technique raises serious concerns about privacy, civil liberties, and potential for discriminatory outcomes, according to a report from the Brennan Center of Justice. Data mining can be considered a form of a dragnet surveillance, particularly when used indiscriminately to collect and analyze large amounts of personal data. What is about to happen, y'all? Why are dragnets problematic for innocent people? Because broad searches like reverse location warrants, for example, can implicate large numbers of users and their devices, potentially bringing millions of innocent people under law enforcement suspicion and having their location records searched without reasonable cause. DNA dragnets. Now, this is going to be interesting. Similarly, DNA dragnets, which can involve collecting DNA samples from many individuals, can lead to innocent people providing samples, potentially facing serious consequences based on sensitive DNA tests. Y'all, and who just bought the DNA company? Blackstone just bought Ancestry. And who bought 23andMe? A company called Regeneron Pharmacies. And some of their stockholders, the people that own the most stock, Vanguard and BlackRock. So the globalists have control of people's DNA. DNA can get innocent people caught up in surveillance. Let's keep going. Y'all please get a notebook out because you're going to need to draw flow charts and connect all this together. So January 20th, the day that Trump is re-sworn in as president, when he did not put his hand on the Constitution, on the Bible to uphold the Constitution under an oath, one of his first executive orders establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency. This is going to be important. The first day. 3 days later, removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. Trump's executive order on AI, Executive Order 14179, titled Removing Barriers to American Leadership in Artificial Intelligence, was signed by President Trump January 23, 2025. The order aims to bolster U.S. dominance in AI by promoting development free from ideological biases, establishing a plan for global leadership, and reviving or rescinding conflicting policies. I just typed in Trump's executive order on Stargate, but it's a private venture. Donald Trump announced a private artificial intelligence venture called Stargate. Y'all remember the first day in office, he had Sam Altman and Larry Ellison from Oracle and the man from Sunbank. The first day back, sworn in, he's announcing this artificial intelligence venture called Stargate. The goal is to invest up to $500 billion in AI infrastructure in the United States by 2029. Now, aiming to secure American leadership in AI and promote national security. My last video was on 2030, on what to expect in 2030. So Trump wants to have this AI infrastructure completed by 2029, the year before 2030. We're looking at the construction of a dragnet. Wait till y'all see how all this comes together. Trump says he doesn't know if he needs to uphold the constitutional due process. Y'all remember that? Trump said, I don't know, when asked if he needed to uphold the U.S. Constitution when it comes to giving immigrants the right to due process. So, and I did a whole video on he did not put his hand on the Bible. His lawyer said he did not take an oath to the Constitution, and Trump says he doesn't know if he needs to uphold the Constitution. I had to go find the article so y'all would not think I was making it up, okay? Trump legal news brief. Appeals court rules Trump can be sued for inciting January 6th violence. But look at this. Now, y'all look. In a filing made to the Colorado Supreme Court, lawyers for the former President Donald Trump say that he never took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States. And now, May 4th, 2025, Trump says he doesn't know if he needs to uphold the constitutional due process. From June 11th, 2025, a week ago, Trump to ramp up transfers to Gitmo, including citizens of allies. Plans show the administration is preparing to send thousands of foreigners, including people from Britain, France, Italy, without notifying their governments. Okay, are we ready for this? 6 days ago, Trump administration is preparing to begin the transfer of potentially thousands of foreigners who are in the U.S. illegally to the U.S. military base in Gitmo, Cuba, starting as early as this week. And y'all remember he wants to reopen Alcatraz. All this is going to tie together. This is a dragnet. Is Stargate AI? We talked about the $500 billion plan to implement Stargate by 2029. Yes, Stargate is a large-scale artificial intelligence infrastructure project that is used in dragnets. Okay. Now let's talk about Palantir. DOGE, Palantir, who Trump just commissioned to create a database, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. is working with DOGE, that's going into all of the nation's personal files on every person. Palantir, DOGE's magic wand or deep state weapon. Ex-users claim Palantir's AI facilitated DOGE access to U.S. aid and other government projects. Wired reported that associates of Palantir and its co-founder Peter Thiel were involved in a 2024 online recruiting push for DOGE. The Financial Times says Trump picked Palantir executives for key government roles after his 2024 victory. Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel is a Trump ally since 2016 and also backed J.D. Vance's political rise. When you deep dive into Palantir, they are very involved with AI, and they bankrolled Trump's election. They bankrolled J.D. Vance's U.S. Senate campaign. They handpicked J.D. Vance to be Trump's running mate. They're involved in AI, and 3 days after Trump took office, he removed all barriers in AI. It's all going to lead to a dragnet. Wait till y'all see this. Marjorie Taylor Greene sounds alarm over AI provision in one big beautiful bill. I would have voted no if I had known. The bill literally destroys state rights for 10 years.
Have you said you have problems with the bill, just like Elon Musk has said. I mean, do you echo some of the concerns that he has?
I have one serious problem with the bill, and that is destroying state rights and federalism to allow AI to run rampant over 10 years. And AI, I think, is one of the most unknown and unpredictable industries going forward. And I can tell you right now, if you look up the jobs that AI will replace, I'm looking at every single one of you. And over the next 10 years, all of the people here in the press, your jobs will be replaced by AI. And I am 100% opposed, and I will not vote for any bill that destroys federalism and takes away states' rights, the ability to regulate and make laws when it regards humans and AI. And this is a warning shot for everyone. I don't care what your political party is. I do not care if you hate my guts or you love me or you don't care about me whatsoever. I think every single human matters. And I think this is an issue I'll go to the mat on. I love many of the policies because they fund the president's campaign promises. I can also say I don't like the price tag. I can agree with Elon there. I can agree with the president on the good things in the bill, but I can also tell every single Republican in the House and the Senate, I don't care what you change it to, if you are destroying state rights, I'm out.
Clause that is in the one big beautiful bill. This clause would take away state rights to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I think federalism is something that we must always protect. And I warn against the dangers of protecting a tech industry where we have no idea the future of what this industry will hold. AI is rapidly developing. AI has developed quickly over the past few years. Imagine what it will be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. Here's a lesson for us all. No matter what political party holds office and is in charge, we should all watch carefully the bills that we pass, and we should be mindful about protecting not only state rights, but the rights of the American people, about a clause that is in.
Will data centers run AI? Now, we've been hearing a lot about the construction of data centers. Yes, data centers are increasingly crucial for running AI systems. AI models, especially large ones, require significant computational power for both training and inference. Is DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, using Palantir? Just last week, we learned that Palantir, a Silicon Valley company known for building surveillance tools, is being used to build AI-powered profiles on every American using the data that DOGE has collected. Can y'all say Dragnet? And AI that Marjorie Taylor Greene is opposing is just going to be amassing more and more data, constructing more and more profiles on people, being able to implement whatever kind of retaliatory actions that they might want to take against people that get caught up in this dragnet. Elon Musk DOGE is very good for Palantir, says CEO Alex Karp. DOGE is planning a hackathon at the IRS. It wants easier access to taxpayer data. DOGE operatives have repeatedly referred to the software company Palantir as a possible partner in creating a mega API at the IRS. Elon Musk, so now he's gone, but Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency has plans to stage a hackathon next week in Washington, D.C. The goal is to create a single mega API, a bridge that lets software systems talk to one another for accessing the IRS data on Americans, sources tells Wired. The agency is expected to partner with third-party vendor to manage certain aspects of the data project. Palantir, a software AI surveillance company, co-founded by billionaire and Musk associate Peter Thiel, has been brought up consistently by DOGE representatives as a possible candidate, sources tell Wired. The goal, so now Elon's done got him in place. That's why he doesn't need to be there anymore. The goal is to have this task completed within 30 days. Sources say there have been multiple discussions about involving third-party cloud and software surveillance people like Palantir in the implementation. We love disruption, and whatever is good for America will be good for Americans and very good for Palantir. We love disruption. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not subscribed. DOGE aims to pull federal data, putting personal information at risk. Now, remember, part of Dragnet is data mining. Is the Department of Efficiency data mining? Yes, the Department of Government Efficiency, potentially led by Elon Musk, is using data mining and AI to improve government efficiency. And we read that innocent people get caught up in these kind of dragnets. Now watch this. Now, I'm showing this so we can go into the next article. Do PCR tests collect DNA? Yeah, and where was PCR tests done? Where were PCR tests done? I asked how many Americans took part in PCR testing. Although an exact percentage is unavailable, this is for COVID testing, the at-home test, the going to CVS, getting it, going to your doctor's office, your dentist office, everywhere. Although the exact percentage is unavailable, the data suggests that a significant portion of the American population underwent PCR testing for COVID during the pandemic. Do PCR tests collect DNA? Yes, PCR tests collect and amplify DNA. So then I can hear people saying, oh, it's not the same kind of test that collects DNA. So I put, can paternity tests be done with PCR? Yes, paternity tests to see if you are the father, you are the mother. Yes, paternity tests are commonly performed using PCR tests. Now, this is going to be important. So now they collected DNA on just about every person in the United States. I'm happy to say they did not stick nothing up me anywhere. My nose is clean. But they collected DNA samples off of just about every American. Palantir, Peter Thiel's data mining firm, helps DOGE build master database to surveil and track immigrants. Oh, but you say, oh, well, they need to be tracked. They need to be tracked. First, they came for the immigrants. First, they came for the illegals. Who's going to stand up for you when they come after the people that get caught up in this dragnet? Trump taps Palantir to create master database on every American. Does that say illegal? Does that say on people here in America illegally? President Trump, who people say is a godsend, who's been bankrolled by every global elitist transhumanist there is on the planet, Trump now taps the surveillance company Palantir to create a master database on every single American. Dragnet. The Trump administration is collecting data on all Americans, and they are enlisting the data analysis company Palantir to do it. The order has increased fears that the government is putting together a database to wield surveillance powers over the American public. June 4, 2025, MAGA supporters turn against Trump after terrifying new citizen database sparks major privacy concerns. A number of former Republican voters have since expressed their concerns online. June 2nd, 2025, from Newsweek, Trump's flipped on us. MAGA reacts to potential national citizens database. Supporters of President Donald Trump expressed anger and disbelief online following reports that his administration had advanced plans to create a national citizens database with technology firm Palantir. The White House has contracted Palantir, a Colorado-based analytics company co-founded by Trump supporter Peter Thiel, to assist in compiling a database of personal information on American citizens. They've already got it through DOGE. According to an unnamed government officials and Palantir employees who spoke with the New York Times. The purported deal follows project talks Palantir had with the Social Security Administration and the Department of Education. The reaction from Trump supporters reflected growing unease within conservative circles, indicating a pure rupture between the president and key segments of his constituency. The Palantir deal marks a significant development in government data collection. A dragnet drawing sharp concern from privacy advocates that Trump's own core base, otherwise known as MAGA, detractors compared the centralized database efforts to surveillance initiatives in authoritarian regimes. Numerous pro-Trump voices expressed dismay and feelings of betrayal across social media platforms like X. Quote, "People are so quick to suggest that I flipped on Trump. No, I didn't flip on Trump. Trump flipped on us, and I'm not going to continue living a lie." Candace Owens turned her back on him.
Just did a full 180 on Trump. After years of riding hard for him, she's now calling him out, saying he's not the man we thought he was.
Trump administration is fighting against free speech in America. And that is very sad for me to say and to report as someone who has been a supporter of Donald Trump. We cannot allow our rights to be infringed upon. And if you think it's going to stop with college campuses, you're out of your mind.
Sis claims Trump's recent actions don't line up with the values she once supported. Whew, politics really got no loyalty these days.
Trump has flipped on us. Candace Owens says he's not the man that we thought he was. And he's cozying up with AI, with all the oligarchs, with all the Silicon Valley people who have a transhumanist goal in mind. That's their end goal. And this is who he's palling around with now and doing the bidding for. And the Silicon Valley people are quick to be building this surveillance grid. Palantir's unchecked surveillance empire. How a CIA-backed data giant threatens liberty and fuels global oppression. In an era where privacy is vanishing and governments increasingly weaponize data against their own citizens, Palantir Technologies has emerged as the shadowy architect of a dystopian surveillance state. Funded by the CIA and led by billionaire Peter Thiel, this Silicon Valley behemoth has infiltrated every branch of the U.S. government, transforming personal data into a tool for mass control. From enabling Trump's mass deportations that he feels like he doesn't have to give them due process, to assisting Israel's AI driven genocide in Gaza, Palantir's technology is not just invasive, it is deadly. As its stocks soar to record highs, fueled by lucrative government contracts, the world must ask, who is really being surveilled? Who stands to profit from this unprecedented erosion of freedom? I'm still trying to find this actual clip. The Coming Revolution, Palantir's Profit Motive. Alex Karp, who is over Palantir, chilling remarks at Davos in 2023 laid bare Palantir's endgame. There's a revolution. Some people are going to get their heads cut off, he warned, framing social unrest as a business opportunity. So then I found it on LifeSite News, which is a Catholic site. Karp went on to predict social disruption ahead that would be very good for Palantir. There's a revolution. Some people are going to get their heads cut off, he warned, suggesting that his firm was producing the most vital technology enabling elites to restore control during the coming unrest. Some people are going to get their heads cut off in the next coming unrest, and Trump has partnered with them. Does this sound biblical? Does this sound biblical when it talks about, and I saw the souls of them who had been beheaded? I did find this one when he says sometimes it's necessary to kill your enemies. February 20th, 2025. This is after they started working with Trump's government.
Alex, as always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's not talk to analysts about the burden of being right, our burdens of investing in ontology, our burdens of actually looking at the math, the burden of reading what the Rule of 40 is, the burden of being honest about what an enterprise software company is, or the burden of explaining to your friends that you're really happy. Maybe we should just stop talking about it. I'm very happy to have you along for the journey, and you are partners for us. Every Palantirian, we are crushing it. Everyone else who's listening, we are dedicating our company. We have dedicated our company to the service of the West and the United States of America, and we're super proud of the role we play, especially in places we can't talk about. And we love our success in the U.S. and globally. Also, we are doing in the United Kingdom and many other places. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
And Trump has partnered with them, and they're openly talking about occasionally it's necessary to kill people.
And we hope you're in favor of that. We hope you're enjoying being a partner, and we're really happy and very, very focused on what we're doing.
Assassins. He brags that Palantir, this is May 31st, 2025, less than a month ago. He brags that Palantir put down the rise of the right in Europe. Listen to this.
Well, we built PG, which single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. We built Foundry, which was used to distribute the COVID vaccine. And
they were behind distributing the COVID vaccine. They squashed political dissent. And he admits they kill people, and Trump has just commissioned them to build a database on every single American. You don't think Trump has turned on people? This is a dragnet.
Saved millions of lives globally. We built what we call multi-constellation, and what's often called the digital kill chain. And they're category-defining products. So when you deliver these products to the market, just honestly, people say this isn't going to exist, this isn't valuable, but then it changes the market. And then the market is the Palantir market. Now, that doesn't mean everyone in the world is going to buy our product, but it means most of the sensible people in the world are going to buy from the category we defined.
And Trump is buying their product and taps Palantir to create a master database on every American. Trump's dystopian plan is already underway. Palantir's unchecked surveillance empire, and this journalist is going to confront Peter Thiel at Bilderberg this past week over the database he's building on Americans. Peter Thiel confronted at Bilderberg, you know, the secret group that runs the world. Peter Thiel was there. The same Peter Thiel that Trump has incorporated to create a database on you, me, our children, our grandparents, our next door neighbors, our bosses, our co-workers, the people at school, the people that we work with. Trump has called upon this man who meets in the secret globalist meetings to bring his technology to America to create a database on all of us. So this journalist has guts, and he's going to confront Peter Thiel on it.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir? Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein? I think people are rather concerned about that last particular one. You're setting up a Big Brother surveillance system, and people know it, sir. You think the American people want this surveillance tech being used against them? Any comments at all on the Epstein connections? You were meeting with them. People are waking up to what you're doing there, sir. That's why we're here covering this.
Did y'all see how tight his jawline got? Yeah, did y'all see that? Did he once say, "I'm not spying on Americans"? Peter Thiel's relationship with the intelligence community has been worse than you'd think. The Silicon Valley data miner, which is dragnetting, no longer works with the NSA, and its chief executive described the CIA as recalcitrant in the summer of 2025. I typed in Palantir data centers. Palantir does not operate its own physical data centers in the traditional sense. Instead, Palantir's software platforms like Foundry and Gotham are designed to integrate with and leverage existing cloud infrastructure provided by major providers such as Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, anything you got up in the cloud, they got, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud. This allows Palantir to offer its data analytics and operational capabilities across various environments, including customer-owned data centers and cloud platforms. And data creates the profiles. How AI can help police predict crimes a week before they happen. Researchers have studied how AI can be used to predict crime. One study built model with 90% accuracy. Technology has been shown to have biases. So imagine when information is compiled against you and they want to make you look like a certain kind of way or a certain kind of person, or your ideologies aren't right. Now, this is where the dragnet is about to blow your mind. This is from yesterday, from Yahoo, the Canadian Press. The Trump's family next venture, a mobile phone company. Monday, June 16th, the Trump's family next venture, a mobile phone company. If Trump watches or sneakers or Bibles aren't your thing, the family business just added another product to show your support for the U.S. president. Mobile phones. Do y'all think this is for our benefit or part of the Dragnet? Wait till we get into this. But before we look at the clip, look at the question. Does Palantir work with cell phone networks? Yes, Palantir does work with cell phone networks primarily in the following ways: data integration and analytics. So Palantir, that now works for Trump, will have your phone records, courtesy hand-delivered from Trump. And who owns Palantir? The same people that own the DNA, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Palantir, the world's most evil company. Amnesty International slams Palantir's human rights records, the same Palantir that admitted they kill people. Now, I just want to show you how dangerous it's about to get before we get into the Trump telephone situation. Now, this was June 2020. Do y'all remember at the beginning of the COVID virus pandemic that every single person's phone got an upgrade to it, to where they put the health app on every single person's phone, and it's there now and you cannot delete it? Do y'all remember that? Now, remember, Palantir's involved in this, right? Does Palantir Foundry work with mobile health apps? Palantir, which is owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and CIA, Palantir is designed to work with mobile health apps. Now, what are they about to start collecting? Now, look at Apple's new release about to come out. The latest Apple iOS, likely is going to be iOS 26, which is expected to be announced soon, will include new features related to tracking. Key changes will include enhanced app tracking transparency, allowing users to decide whether apps can track their activity across other companies' apps and websites. Does Palantir work with Apple? That's going to be tracking. Yes, Palantir works with Apple. So wait till we get into this. Trump is now offering mobile phones. Dragnet. Trump is partnering with people that are accused of human rights violations, and Trump is allowing them to take all of our information. So now here's Trump. This says, warning, Trump's mobile phone is really Palantir's pre-crime AI spyware used to target individuals. Are y'all ready?
We've partnered with some of the greatest people in the industry to make sure that real Americans can get true value from their mobile carriers.
Oh, you know, the people that say they might have to kill you.
Today, we're here to introduce Trump Mobile. We've partnered with some of the greatest people in the industry to make sure that real Americans can get true value from their mobile carriers. With Trump Mobile, we're going to be introducing an entire package of products that people can come, they can get telemedicine on their phone for one flat monthly fee.
Telemedicine on your phone, brought to you by Donald Trump.
Roadside assistance in their cars, unlimited texting to 100 countries around the world.
The fact that all your customer service will be done in America. It's going to be done in St. Louis, Missouri. I hope I was allowed to give that out. And making phones in America. It's about time we bring products back to our great country. And it's about time we disrupt this space.
This is the nation's...
He said disrupt, the same terminology that Palantir uses.
Inspire channel, welcome to today's show. The Trump family has announced that they will be releasing a Donald Trump mobile phone. And a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how Palantir was teaming up with the current government regime, which of course Palantir is connected to each government regime because Palantir is just a branch of the CIA that is compiling data on Americans. So is it a coincidence that a few weeks after we found out the connection between Palantir and Donald Trump, now Mr. One? A coincidence that a few weeks after we found out the connection between Palantir and Donald Trump, now we're finding out that Donald Trump has a phone that's going to be released. And if you understand how Palantir works and who's behind Palantir, let's just say that this is going to be spyware for the Mossad. Now, many people out there become so desensitized to their own privacy that they say, well, they're already spying on us anyway. I might as well get the Trump phone. What's the difference between a smartphone and a Samsung phone or an iPhone? What's the difference? The Trump phone's cool. I support Donald Trump. I'll support his phone. The government's already listening to everything that we say, but they don't understand that this phone is going to be direct to Palantir technology. This is AI driven through Palantir, and it's going to target specific individuals because we know the only people who will be purchasing this phone would actually be conservative. So now they could literally target one group of people with a specific group of ideologies compared to the entire population having some type of spyware on their phone, literally just going after people who are conservative or, of course, Christian. And if you understand what Palantir does, then this should horrify you as a conservative or a Christian. And you should start waking up now before it's too late. So some of the things that you'll find in the fine print about what is included with this phone is artificial intelligence and automated decision making. And
The AI that Trump just deregulated without any control on is going to be in his phone.
this will all sound like something that should just, oh, well, what's the big deal? It's just AI. This is consent for AI. And then you need to understand about Palantir and predictive policing because it's right out of Minority Report what they do. And I'll explain momentarily. But from Trump's website, it says, we employ artificial intelligence technologies to enhance the performance and functionality of the Trump mobile services, which includes tailoring your experience through automated processing based on your activity using the Trump mobile services. The AI systems work by analyzing your usage patterns, preferences, and other interactions within our services to predict your interests and preferences. Keyword predict. Now, some people might hear that and say, well, I get recommended banner ads all the time based on other things that I buy. Or, of course, we all know that you'll get an occasional banner ad every day of something that you might be talking about in private with your computer or your phone not on, and it'll show up on your computer or your phone, right? Because, yes, they are indeed spying, but just keep in mind that word to predict your interests and preferences because, again, this is all about predictive policing, and it's a word that people need to start understanding. So it goes on to say, by using the Trump's mobile services, you consent to the use of AI as described in this privacy policy. We encourage you to review your privacy settings regularly to ensure they continue to reflect your preferences. Benny Johnsons, who are promoting this to their audience, they're going to sell this product to their audience. And that's how this American corporation works. They're going to sell this product to their audience. And that's how this American corporation works. All the alt-right groupies come out. They talk about how cool this phone is going to be, how Donald Trump's kicking butt. And they start marketing it to those people subliminally. Here's a coupon code through Benny Johnson. Here's a coupon code through Russell Brand and Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. Suddenly, this advanced AI-driven technology is now in the palm of their hands. But they don't realize that this is nothing more than their way of targeting individuals within the conservative movement who are speaking against.
Well, we heard Palantir say that they stopped the right uprising in Europe. This is from February 14, 2024. Germany's top security queen pushes government Dragnet to track right-wing extremist financing. So now they're putting in the hand of every right-winger a phone that can be tracked and traced by the same people that's building a database with predictive policing in the backdrop. Now, April 28th, executive order by Trump, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminal and protect innocent citizens. Now, he wants to militarize local police within 90 days of this. So that was April 28th, April, May, June, July. So, but by July 28th, he wants local police officers militarized. Within 90 days of the create of this date, the Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth and Ice Barbie, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, in coordination with Ice Barbie, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be used to prevent crime. Well, now if you've got Trump's predictive phone in your hand, they're going to know exactly who to go pick up, who's going to be on this list. Trump executive order militarizes police. Executive order strengthening and unleashing American law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens, signed in 2025. This order aims to empower hyper-militarized policing and shield police departments and officers from accountability. So we're talking about Palantir, Dragnets, databases, data mining, AI, and data centers. The role of the data center in your network. I typed in Trump data centers, Data Center Magazine, U.S. President Donald Trump building a data center empire. As his second presidency gets underway and AI growth surges, President Donald Trump seeks to make changes that will inevitably impact the data center industry. U.S. President Donald Trump has hit the ground running with countless executive orders and international investments taking place with the goal of keeping the U.S. booming. Why is Donald Trump interested in data centers? When it comes to Trump, we are expecting he will continue supporting U.S. interest in data centers in order to power ahead in AI advancements. What will these newly constructed data centers be used for? Newly constructed data centers will primarily serve as the infrastructure backbone for the next generation of cloud computing, AI, and machine learning. Transhumanist. The data centers will support the transhumanist agenda. Could the newly constructed data centers be used for pre-crime identification? Yes, data centers, particularly large-scale facilities equipped with advanced computing capabilities and data analytics tools, could be utilized for pre-crime identification, often referred to as predictive policing. Will the newly constructed data centers monitor cities? The increased use of data centers to support smart city initiatives has raised some privacy concerns. For instance, some residents express concerns about data centers being located near homes and schools and about how this data collection and storage might impact their communities. Will the newly constructed data centers be used to support brain-computer interfaces? There's a strong possibility that newly constructed data centers, especially those designed with advanced computing and AI capabilities, will play a significant role in supporting brain-computer interfaces. Transhumanism, merging man and machine. Could the newly constructed data centers be used to track? Yes, newly constructed data centers could be used to track individuals and their data, but this is not their primary function. Data centers are primarily designed to process, store, and manage vast amounts of data for various purposes, including business operations, scientific research, and entertainment. While they can be used to track individuals through their online activity and data storage, this is often a byproduct of their core function and not the main reason for their construction. Now, look at this question. Will the newly created data centers be used for RFID chip implementation? Yes, newly created data centers are increasingly utilizing RFID technology for various purposes, especially asset tracking and management. Could the newly constructed data centers be used to identify individuals who are not RFID chipped? While the newly constructed data centers themselves are primarily designed for storing and processing vast amount of data, they can be part of a larger system that facilitates the identification of individuals, even if those individuals are not equipped with RFID chips. Let that sink in. Let that sink in right there. Apple works with Palantir. Apple's putting a new tracking app on everybody's phone. Data centers are going up. They're running on AI. Data centers will utilize RFID chips, and they will be able to identify people if they have an RFID chip or not. Let that sink in. And Trump is partnering with these people and writing the executive orders that open the door wide open for them to do what they're doing. Now, there's a website called datacentermap.com. These are all the data centers located in America. Louisiana has 13. So these are all the data centers around the world. So you can go and look at this site. It's very interesting. Y'all remember Eric Trump said the Trump phones were going to be coming out of St. Louis, Missouri? It says, you're doing it right, out of St. Louis, Missouri with the Trump Mobile. We're going to be introducing the entire package of products. Y'all remember that? He said it's coming out of St. Louis, Missouri. Well, when you click on one of the data centers, there's something called Bluebird Underground. So when I go look up Bluebird Underground, some crazy information comes up. Bluebird Underground Data Center, located 85 feet below ground in Springfield, Missouri. An underground data center. So you can take weeks going through where all these are located and what they're going to be doing. This is going to blow your mind. It's all going to be surveillance, a dragnet. Right now, how many data centers are in the United States? As of March 2025, there are 5,426 data centers in the United States. This makes the U.S. the country with the most data centers globally. Other than countries with the higher number of data centers include Germany with 521, and the UK with 514, and China only 449. This was a lower number in October. Now in March, it's more. It shows that the United States has 10 times more data centers than China. How's that, America first? Will the newly created data centers work with Starlink? Yes, Starlink can definitely be integrated with the newly created data centers, particularly those in remote locations or where traditional broadband is unavailable or unreliable. It will provide internet connectivity. Does Palantir work with Starlink? Yes, Palantir integrates with Starlink technology as part of its offerings. Will the newly created data center support crypto wallets? New data centers, particularly those dedicated to or evolving from cryptocurrency mining operations, are increasingly being adapted to support services relevant to the broader digital asset ecosystem through direct support for individual crypto wallets within the data center itself. Will the newly created data centers work with ISO 222? Yes, newly created, that's the new financial system that's coming in November. Newly created data centers, especially those designed for financial institutions and modern payment systems, will likely work with the ISO 222 or be built with requirements in mind. ISO 222 is becoming the standard of global financial messaging. Will the newly constructed data centers be used for the Internet of Things? Yes, newly constructed data centers will likely be used, at least in part, to support the Internet of Things. Will the newly constructed data centers be used in smart cities? Yes, newly constructed data centers, particularly edge data centers, are designed to be a crucial part of smart cities. They will play a vital role in processing the massive amount of data generated by smart city applications and infrastructure. Will the newly created data centers support blockchain? Yes, a newly created data centers can support blockchain technology, and many are designed with this in mind. Will the newly created data centers work with SpaceX? Yes, newly created data centers can and will work with SpaceX. Can SpaceX be militarized? SpaceX is set to be the U.S. military's top launch provider, raking in close to $6 billion in contracts with the Pentagon to get satellites into orbit. Can SpaceX create surveillance? Yes, SpaceX, which is now going to be working with the military, is developing surveillance capability, and Palantir works with them. SpaceX is developing surveillance capabilities specifically through its Starshield program and its partnership with the U.S. government. Does Palantir work with SpaceX? Yes, Palantir and SpaceX are collaborating on potential projects, particularly in the defense and aerospace sectors. Palantir plus the CIA. Palantir Technologies has a strong connection with the U.S. military agencies, including the CIA. He says for the first few years, the government was Palantir's only customer.
First couple of years of Palantir's existence, the CIA was its only client. Now, interesting thing, Whitney Webb notes in her book that Peter Thiel and Alex Karp say that they started the company in 2004, but public records show it started in 2003, so I don't know why they're trying to hide that. Today, still 40% of Palantir's revenue comes from government contracts, and its stock went absolutely through the roof when Trump got elected. I wonder what they think is on the horizon. Now, you remember the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where they do predictive crime programming analytics, where they could look at a profile of a person based on your data and say, that person's going to commit a crime. We need to arrest him proactively. That is precisely what Palantir is working on right now. They've done this with the LA Police Department. They've done it with the New Orleans Police Department. They even partnered up with Elon Musk and Starlink and they did something called Project Maven in the Ukraine war, where they are using AI to acquire vast amounts of data and precisely pinpoint targets on the battlefield. And for the first couple of years of Palantir's existence, the CIA was its only client. Now, interesting thing, Whitney Webb notes in her.
Now, this is a site that I love, and I've referenced it many, many times, Atlas of Surveillance. And it's open records to show how we are being surveilled. And it's all over the world, but I'm only going to show America. And so this over here shows the body-worn cameras, drones, license plate readers, third-party platforms, camera registry, facial recognition, gunshot detection, cell site simulators or stingrays, predictive policing, video analytics, fusion centers, and real-time crime centers or fusion centers. So that's how surveilled we are. Well, the fusion centers are let's look, I'm going to take everything off but the fusion centers. Okay, so there's the fusion centers. Fusion centers, the purpose of fusion centers are collaborative information sharing hubs primarily within Homeland Security law enforcement communities. Their purpose is to receive, analyze, disseminate intelligence related to criminal and terrorist activity. Fusion centers are focused on the fusion process, which involves blending information from various sources, state, local, federal, private sector, to create a comprehensive understanding of threats and to facilitate coordinated actions. So that's where the fusion centers are at right now. So I typed in, will the newly created data centers be used to support the fusion centers? Yes, newly created data centers, particularly those within Homeland Security or those supporting government agencies like the Department of Homeland Security, will likely be utilized to support the fusion centers. So, data centers run on collected data. That's where the fusion centers are going to be. There's the body-worn cameras. There's the drones. There's the license plate readers. Third-party platforms, camera registry, facial recognition, gunshot detection, cell site simulators, predictive programming, predictive policing, video analytics, and real-time crime centers. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. I've got so many articles on data centers. They can be used to identify people who aren't RFID chipped. They can support holograms, pre-crime, fusion centers, atlas of surveillance, identify the enemies of a country, track fusion centers, work with smart cities, Internet of Things, intra-body networks, support the brain-computer interfaces, work with Neuralink, on and on and on. AI's new demands, redesigning data centers for a smarter future. Amazon is building data centers. U.S. building data centers in the Middle East. It'll support crypto wallets. Okay, it goes on and on. On and on. Sam Altman building data centers. Larry Ellison building them. Silicon Valley, Microsoft. So all of these people are going to have our data. Okay? And they're all working with Palantir, and Trump has given Palantir an open platform to come collect whatever they need to collect, and they will also be collecting information from Amazon, from Oracle, from OpenAI to predictively police, to put people on a list. Will the newly created data centers be used in policing? Yes, newly created data centers are and will be used in policing, particularly in the context of real-time crime centers and data-driven policing. Now, this is the headline that got me. AI's new demands. AI's new demands. You remember how they said that humans could lose control over AI and it could think for itself? AI's new demands, redesigning data centers for a smarter future. Now, AI is just going to start taking over, and it's going to start creating whatever its opinion of you that it thinks is collecting from this data. You might be the most sarcastic person on the planet, and all your emails, all your posts, all your texts are full of sarcasm. AI is not going to be able to tell what sarcasm is, and they're going to create a picture of what they think you are. Do y'all see the problem of this? Could the newly constructed data centers be used to identify enemies? Yes, newly constructed data centers, especially those used by integrated with government and military agencies, could play a role in identifying individuals perceived as threats or enemies within a country. So if you don't raise that flag of whoever they tell you to raise it to, or pledge allegiance to whoever they tell you to pledge allegiance to, whatever the criteria they put into the machine, to the B system, that's going to be the standard of what every single person has to be obedient to. And if you don't line up with that, you will be identified. The year of the Dragnet. Is Palantir a dragnet? It appears that Palantir, while not explicitly defined as a dragnet by the company itself, has been described and characterized as enabling and being part of digital dragnets by various sources. This is primarily because of the company's software platforms like Gotham and Foundry, which are designed to integrate and analyze vast amounts of data from diverse sources that Trump has given them access to, including those not traditionally associated with law enforcement or intelligence gathering. Trump has given them access to the education, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, the Treasury Department, and Palantir has been described as a dragnet. This is a 16-minute clip. I'm not going to play all of it. It says, "The all-seeing eye. Why did Donald Trump ask Palantir to create a national database of the U.S. citizens?"
How much do you know about Palantir? How much do you know about the history of Alex Karp, the name? Prior to that, CIA, when it started, the month after it got started, kind of weird. Some of the people involved, you know, how now it's a $300 billion company. Just a couple of years ago, it was a $15 billion company. Stocks just skyrocketed. I think I even recommended it a few years ago in one of the videos that I did. Trump partnering up, a lot of people with the California issue coming out saying, we should use Palantir. Why? Well, we have this technology called Gotham and Foundry. One of them knows how to judge people's behavior, similar to Minority Report, which is kind of like a cool idea. And then the timing of it when it came out is right after what some of the people were trying to do with the government, DARPA, in 2003, that they closed and they said, no, we're not doing this program, which I'll talk about later. A month later, Palantir started with Alex Karp and Peter Thiel, but the history of it's weird. The most basic thing to be thinking about, the name Palantir, where does even Palantir come from? Did you ever watch Lord of the Rings? In Lord of the Rings, there's this thing called Palantir, which obviously a guy like me, who for sure is a nerd, I follow all this stuff very, very closely. The meaning of Palantir is seeing stones. It's this stone that tells you what everybody in the world is doing today. And they named the company Palantir. So they're not even beating around the bush. We're gonna build Palantir to see what you're doing today. That's kind of like somebody starts into what it does a little bit so you understand it. So Palantir isn't just an improving old databases, it's building what some experts are calling the most expansive civilian surveillance infrastructure in US history. Instead of scattered files and spreadsheets, the platform will use real-time data integration and artificial intelligence to profile behavior, detect fraud, and identify individuals or patterns deemed risky by the system. Deemed risky by the system. The system deems you risky or not risky. So the judgment's coming from the system saying, hey, this person's risky, be careful with this person, you know, what we want to do with them moving forward. That was developed by Inslaw and under DOGE contracts stolen by the US and Israeli intelligence. Very interesting. What do you mean stolen by the US and Israeli intelligence? Promise became the prototype for surveillance systems tracking individuals globally during the Reagan era, including Oliver North, developed Main Core. Keep that name. Main Core. It's going to come back up again in a minute. A classified database of Americans labeled as potential dissidents intended for use during continuity of government emergencies, COG. John Poindexter, again, remember that name, Reagan's national security advisor, is convicted for his role in the Iran-Contra affair. Later on, he was overturned on appeal. He was good to go, but this is in 1990. Remember, 1990, the program Main Core, keep those two in mind, because we're going to come back to this later on, okay? Now, 2001, 9/11, and the surveillance state expansion, Main Core is reportedly accessed by the White House. Main Core 2011, Main Core 80s, Reagan era Oliver North. Think about it. How many years later, 20 plus years later, give or take, 15 plus years later, this comes back up. Then DARPA launches Total Information Awareness, TIA, under who? John Poindexter, to build an all-seen surveillance system. CIA CIO Alan Wade supports TIA, introducing concepts like selective revelation and audit trails for privacy shielding, okay? So they've been trying to do this for a long time. You know, the same thing with the seeing stones in the hands of a good person could do good. If the wizard's a good wizard, hey, I can do good with this. But what typically ends up happening? You know, ends up being maybe a wizard that was a good guy. So a wizard like Saruman, who at one point was a good guy, then becomes a bad guy, right? So you have access to this power. Like, man, I can control the world. Man, I can make sure nothing happens with this. In a movie, Book of Eli, one guy, Denzel Washington, looks at the Bible, man, I can set people free. Another guy looks at the Bible, it's like, I need this Bible because with this I can control people. Same book, two different people, two different purpose. So some could say, what's wrong with you? Palantir can help find the bad guys and all this other stuff. In the hands of who? The good guy. So you may have voted for Trump, you're like, dude, Trump's in charge, I'm okay with this. Trump's not gonna be in charge forever. What if an evil president comes in? What if an evil, administration comes in? Then what can they do? Then can they just kind of say, hey, this guy is very vocal, is against us, judgment. That guy's going to jail for 20 years. We're going to say that the software said this guy's about to commit a crime and kill 7 people, put him in jail for 20 years. What? That's the fear of where people are going with this. Make sense? You kind of lose your liberties and your freedom. That's a little, but they've been trying to do this for a while. Reagan's a good guy. They've been trying to do this for a while, but you have to think about a bad guy could one day take over. Let's see what happens next. So then, 2003, you ready for this? TIA shuts down. And this is the whole DARPA deal that we're talking about. You know what starts a month later, give or take? A company called Palantir. And when Palantir got...
From amnesty.org, Palantir Technology contracts raise human rights concerns. Amnesty International, the urgent need for Palantir to respect human rights. This was in 2020, the same Palantir that helped get out the vaccines. So is this, quote, a good wizard, or is this a devil? And Trump has opened the door, given them the red carpet to come spy on everybody.
Palantir got started, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, all these guys, when that got started, it's like, well, what were they going to be doing? Originally, it was aimed to...
And you remember Alex Karp said that they could behead people and kill people?
Apply PayPal's fraud detection to counterterrorism post 9/11. Remember, these guys are PayPal people, right? They're coming in. 2003, Peter Thiel, co-founder, Alex Karp, and others, backed by who? In-Q-Tel. Who's In-Q-Tel? It's CIA's venture capital arm that invests in different technologies. CIA's like, yeah, you guys going to do something like this? Here's some money, build it. We'd like to take advantage of something like this. Predictive policing, that makes a lot of people uncomfortable when they see this. Very strong technology still makes people uncomfortable. So the ethical dilemmas and public perception. Karp claims Palantir was built to balance national security and civil liberties. Critics, ACLU's Ben Witzner, views Palantir as enabling mass surveillance of citizens, ICE backlash versus military dependence. Karp says abandoning ICE would break trust with military partners. So again, good, bad, criticism, we got a lot more we can talk about, but this is what they have right now. 2 countries they don't do business with, China and Russia, thank God. As of right now,
We'll acknowledge the whole country uses Palantir.
a couple other examples. JP Morgan, one of the former employees, used Palantir to spy on coworkers in 2018, and even a few years ago with WikiLeaks in 2011, apparently employees linked to a smear campaign. Karp later had to apologize. I believe it had to do with Glenn Greenwald, if I'm not mistaken. So Thiel, Karp, Musk, you got XAI, you got Palantir, you got DOGE, all of that coming together. Musk's leadership of DOGE while running XAI and X creates a public-private data pipeline where government data could enhance XAI's AI model, hence the Grok that we all know about that, many people use.
And now Trump's executive orders allowing all of this.
Colossus is a supercomputer developed by XAI, Elon Musk's AI company, to train large language models. It currently develops the largest AI supercomputer in the world, located in Memphis, Tennessee, and is powered by NVIDIA Hopper GPUs. Colossus was built in a former Electrolux factory and is being used to train XAI's Grok. So the XAI Palantir TWG partnership, March 2025, positions Musk companies to profit from DOGE's data access, especially in financial services. This partnership with XAI Palantir and TWG positions potentially Musk's companies to profit in a big way from DOGE's data access. Again, that's what a lot of people in the market are saying, that fathers, built America and they wrote the Constitution, and George Washington had the opportunity to be a king. Third term, he said, no, I don't want to do it, right? And it was written in a way for this thing to last. And, democracies don't last a long time because internally the people are destroyed. They've been able to build something that if we go the way we're going, somehow, some way, we just may make it to next year, 250-year anniversary of U.S. 4th of July, we're going to be 250 years old. They built it that way. When you get technologies like this that gets into the, U.S. government and it's being ran by people who it's a free-for-all, I don't know the level of regulations and controls that who has over them. We're getting to the point that back in the days, it used to be where billionaires were the most powerful people in the world, in America. Rockefeller, Chase, they would finance the U.S. government. Then we went through a phase where presidents were the most powerful people in America. We are back to the phase where billionaires, soon to be trillionaires, could potentially be ruling everything because presidents are going to be needing them because the government's now becoming customers of these big companies, not the other way around. We're headed in that direction. What that could look like is, I don't want to tell you what that could look like. Just pray that these people are.
Data mining is a form of dragnet surveillance, especially when used indiscriminately to collect, analyze large amounts of personal data without specific suspicion. This is because data mining techniques, especially when applied to vast data sets, can capture information about individuals who are not suspected of any wrongdoing. And Trump commissions Palantir to create a national database on every U.S. citizen. And innocent people inadvertently get swept into this. Dragnet 2025. This isn't a 1960s television show anymore. This is real life, and it is going to affect every single person on the planet. And every person on the planet is about to be categorized on a data set. Are y'all ready for this? Do not be swayed in your beliefs. Keep standing for Jesus. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the content that I bring on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry?